Well, good morning, everybody. One of our projects for today, as you can see here, Doro's
Hey, good morning.
is taking the ash that we sifted through a couple days ago here, and what we're doing is just spreading it on top, and then we're going to go through with the shovel and kind of make sure that it's covered here. But yeah, really turned out good. So it's a combination of ash and soil and that, and we'll probably use about half of it here in the garden. Then I want to save a bunch too, so that Beth has some for her flowers. We still have, as you can kind of see here, we still have a lot of these roots in here and the roots just kind of never seem to end. They seem to grow all by themselves, and I'm not even going to worry about them now. When I shoveled this up, I did it for the express purpose of leaving chunks and letting the sun kind of beat down on it and break down the soil in the chunks. We'll eventually go through this with like a hand hoe and break up all these chunks and remove so much of the what I call the woody part of this soil here. And I've been doing that almost every time before I'm planting here. I'm going through and removing roots, but you can kind of see here what we've done, and I think this is our third bag. I've just got that portion up there. As you can kind of see here as we look up the aisle here, and this is garden row number 2 here, where I grew beans last time and some peppers. Did not turn out as well as, of course, down in the rice fields, but adding the ash here, and like I said, then we're going to kind of turn the soil a little bit to try to cover it up. Here's where we had a really good crop of beans early on, and I already broke up the soil in this row here, and then I put a little bit where the onions are, and I've been growing onions here for, oh gosh, almost ever since I did the garden rows here, and this is the worst I've ever seen them as far as growth. Usually we pick onions all year long and they grow into these nice big bunches, but like I said, I just checked through my records in for April for rain. We had 1 day of what I call possibly a short duration of 2 to 3 on a 10 scale of rain here on the 6th of April. The little bit of rain we got on the 8th and the 9th I registered as a 1 and short duration of 5 to 10 minutes maybe, which basically hardly does anything. So you can see actually here the results, and like I said, it's just kind of going from bad to worse. This is a good time to probably mix this in. And then what I've done here, as you can see, I've got partially 1 row already covered here. I just took and kind of with a shovel scooped it up and kind of buried the ash a little bit, because we get a good wind here and it'll be all over the yard. And we don't generally get too much of a breeze like that, but I'll go through and we'll cover it as best we can in the rows here, the ash, so that it has a chance. And because it's so small, the particles are so small, they're going to really disappear. As you can kind of see here, if I can kind of, it's really like a powder, and it'll sift down. That's why I left these big chunks in here and didn't break it down, because it'll sift down between the chunks and everything else. And later on, before we plant, and once the rain starts, I'll come through with my hand tool, and yeah, I do it by hand. I wish I had one of these small little tillers. and that, but I do it by hand, and I've been doing it by hand for, oh gosh, as long as we've been up here. So, and actually breaking up the chunks. I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty, as you all know by watching the videos here. So this has been one of the projects that I've been wanting to get at here, and it looks looking pretty good. And like I said, through all the garden rows here, and now we'll kind of go and cover them up, and the little bit that we can cover them. And what it does, it just, as you can see here, it just moves the ash around and sifts in between the big pieces, which is exactly what I want if and when we do get rain again. Oh boy. It'll be an addition to the soil, and I hope this breakdown of the ash and all the minerals that are in it, and that will should definitely help with the soil here. And still haven't added any compost to it, and that'll be added once the rainy season starts. And that, hopefully, my compost piles will have broken down by some, or we'll just add in all the broken up stuff, because like I said, with the chickens going through it and everything, they really break everything up, which is good for the compost. And even if it hasn't completely decomposed, I'll mix it in with the soil, and I've been doing that for the last few years. And like I said, finally got some really decent crops in here. But looking up the garden rows that I have here, this is the time when all the busy work is done in preparation for the rainy season and for the new planting season. So I'm going to kind of say goodbye. This is one of the projects I had in store for the day, and it looks like we're getting it done. We just got to grab a shovel now and go through and kind of cover it up as best we can. So thanks for viewing. This is part of our busy workload, and hopefully it will definitely help. And sure could use some rain though, but it'll come. There is a time and a place, kind of, for everything. So I'm going to say goodbye for now from the back of the camera here, and we will probably be back with you shortly. And God bless every single one of you.